I remember in my youth people trying to be positive and motivating to each other, to live a good life, to make good choices, to have a better quality of life. They would do this by asking a rhetorical, purely hypothetical question. If today was your last day to live, what would you do? How would you live? Regrets or full of confidence? How would you be taking your leave? What they ultimately are trying to say via asking this question is, if you died today, would you be happy with the life that you have lived? And albeit this is a good way to think of things, but it is perhaps only a good way to think of things in terms of legacy though, because once you are dead, that's all she wrote. That is the finale, the great curtain closing, and the show is over. So who cares what life you've led? Who can say you will feel doubt or remorse or anything after the final flicker of consciousness is extinguished? Nonetheless, this little thought experiment seemed weightful to me in my youth, though it has lost its meaning, its merit, its quality as I grew up, learned more, thought more, felt more. Nothing replaced this motif, this thought experiment though. That is until I encountered Friedrich Nietzsche's eternal recurrence thought experiment. Then all of a sudden, to me, this was the weightiest way to think of life, to contemplate the life that you are choosing to live. It shook me to my core, and it changed everything, and plagues me still to this day in all that I do. In each day that goes by, whether spent in happiness and bliss, or in chaos and depression, the weight of the eternal recurrence hangs on me. Nietzsche himself called this theory the greatest weight, and he himself felt haunted by it, a thought which he conjured, which was a nightmare to him until his deathbed. Nietzsche had thought this thought in 1881 while walking along a lake in Switzerland. There he saw a stunning pyramid-shaped rock, and something about this sight dawned the immediate idea upon him. He would later write about it in the Gay Science, published in 1882. Nietzsche would say in section 341, "What if one day or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, 'This life as you now live and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more, and there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence.' Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment where you would have answered him, 'You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine'?" Nietzsche thought most people would be terrified by this prospect. He thought it to be too burdensome for most to cope with, and it would be nightmarish phenomenon for most people to even imagine, that most people spent their time in such a dredge that the idea of having to repeat it would stiffen them with fear, that most people had so little meaning in their life, so little ambition for brilliance or beauty, so little good, that they would curse the idea alone. And only a small few would have such splendor, such good memories, such confidence in their choices, that they would find the possibility gleeful or amazing. I know myself, I have tried to live in the affirmation of life. I have tried to live in the accordance to the will of life and to say yes to life, much as Nietzsche had. But when I seriously think of this, when I truly imagine and surrender myself fully to this thought experiment, I am not sure how I would respond at this given moment. Looking back, I see a plethora of mistakes that I have made. So much narrow-mindedness, so much naivety that has cost me dearly. I have seen tears, I have seen turmoil, and regrettably enough, I have been the cause of many tears and many turmoils for other people. I see imperfections that seem to be a curse to think of repeating. I've been bored many of days. I've struggled with feelings, thoughts, and emotions that I still cannot fully grapple with. I've spent many hours selling my life away, 1 hour at a time, working for a useless wage to squeak out a meager survival. Time spent on a meaningless charade. Time spent for something and someone other than for myself. These things I would regret with all of my heart to have to repeat. But there have also been beauties in my life. Times where laughter was authentic. Times when I felt that I actually belonged. Times that affirmed a purpose for me. Times that offered hope and excitement. Offered promises. I have had many interesting adventures that would be an absolute blessing to experience afresh and anew once more. I have forged relationships that I would adore to repeat once more. Faces now gone that the idea of seeing again brings joy to me even now. But pressing on, looking at the rest of my life, looking at tomorrow, the weight of the eternal recurrence theory burdens my every move. It plagues my choice and my decision making. With everything I do, I ask myself, what if I am sentenced to repeat this? To do it again and again and again and again? How will I perceive this? How would this moment play out for all of eternity? With beauty and happiness, or with dread and melancholy? How I spend my day, who I spend my day with, the fights that I take on, the fights that I let slide by, the memories I pass on or seize. If I had to do them all again, I ask, how would I receive that information? Now think of your own life, your chances that you've taken, the excitement that you have felt, the love that you have taken and captivated, or the love that you have lost, the boring, gloomy days of doom scrolling, or the brilliant sunshine on a beautiful hike, the laughter with friends, or the fight with a loved one. If it is all to be repeated, how would you feel? Moving forward, with this question in your mind looming, would you change how you approach each day?